I'm Terrence James, and today I've got the keys for a brand new 2024 Golf R manual. And the question I want to answer today is, with over 300 horsepower, all-wheel drive with torque vectoring rear end, that's drift mode, and all the looks and practicality you could ever want for still well below the average asking price here, is this Canada's top daily driver? So what we're going to do is we're going to take this for a drive, tell you all about it, and then do some fun feels tests as we lead to our final thoughts. So here we go. Look at that, perfect. Manual shifter, start button, R mode. Okay, and we are off, and I couldn't be more excited. So, let me tell you the story about the Golf R. Well, I think it started back in the early 2000s in Europe, because that is the crazed place for rally racing, and they love their little hatchbacks there, rally-inspired premium vehicles at a decent price. Yes, the Golf R is very expensive for what it is, but it is a great value, hence the review that we're trying to test out today. So, in North America, though, we got 6th generation here in, I think, 2013 model year, something like that. Anyway, fell in love with it. It was amazing vehicle, awesome. I'd love to try to drive one day. But that's essentially what the Golf R is basically, it is as close to a little rally car as you're gonna get, aside from like a GR Corolla or something. But this has a lot more practicality and good looks that you can take anywhere, unlike that GR Corolla, which is a little bit more boy racery. So now, what is the difference in looks between a GTI, let's say, and a Golf R? Well, the GTI is a sporty one, but this is the extra sporty one. So both of them have different fascias. Now, they don't even make a normal Golf anymore, but when they did, the GTI had a sportier look on front and back and around the sides and everything else like that, and of course in the interior with the red stitching. And then the Golf R, same thing, just a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more sportier, and blue trim on the inside. That kind of what differentiated it for looks wise between those two. Now, what about a Mark 8 Golf R and a Mark 7? Well, you wouldn't think there's a ton difference because they're very subtle, the Germans, but you know, when they're parked side by side, I did notice a little bit of a difference. It does look a little bit more round and a little wider in the hips, the new Golf. I don't think measurement wise it's a lot difference, but where it does differ, it is a whole inch longer and a half an inch on the wheelbase. So that's going to help you, of course, on your driving dynamics and things like that, but on the practicality. Now, the MQB for the MK8 has always been a really good platform, and on a Golf R you're going to get more welds, more adhesives, and on this one you're actually getting aluminum front subframe, aluminum knuckles. They've actually tightened up the steering, you have more direct steering now. You actually have negative camber on the front, so they really want to try to make this for the weekend warrior as good of a track car as you can, because of course it's strut front and multi-link rear, which all these hot hatches pretty much are in most vehicles nowadays, but that does kind of limit some of the adjustability that you can have on track. So what else to talk about? Well, they've got the 235 millimeter width rubbers on here, and very sticky for the summer ones, so that is going to help as well put down that power, because you got a lot of power on this EA888 2-liter. Oh, let's just do a little grunty thing here. So I'm going to put it in R mode, and I think you got to get it around 3. Yeah, there you go. You hear those burbles? Do that all day long. I don't think that guy in the truck behind me appreciates it. Anyway, so yes, this EA888, there's up to 315 horsepower now, and almost 300 pound-feet of torque, which you can rocket it from 0 to 60 in under 5 seconds. You're looking at 4.9 seconds even on the manual here, and all the way down to almost in the 3-second range, high threes for the automatic, which is incredible. But as we said, you got this all-wheel drive technology nowadays, the sticky rubber, and then here you actually have torque vectoring in the rear, which is incredible. So that's going to help you go around the corners for an all-wheel drive vehicle, make it seem more like an all-wheel or rear-wheel drive. So it is going to send up to half the power to the back, and then it can go 100% of that half to either side. And that differs from a lot of things, especially like a GR Corolla. Now, the GR Corolla has the limited slip front and back, so it's going to be really good in like snow and gravel and things like that. But just on track or on daily stuff, you're probably going to enjoy this more, especially the drift mode, which we will test out, because it's going to allow the back end to swing around. But just driving around, it does feel a little bit weird and a little augmented, but we're going to talk about some of that in our feels test. Nonetheless, it is really nice to have some of that technology. And of course, you got your 6-speed manual transmission. It's cable operated, and I have to say, it does seem pretty good, pretty precise, and pretty notchy. I did drive a 7.5 Golf R not too long ago as a comparison, and it was manual, of course, and it seemed a little loosey-goosey, but maybe because it had 50, 60,000 kilometers on it, I don't know, but this seems really, really good. Pedal box is great. Even my little 8.5, 9 foot size 9 feet shoes can do the heel toe. Not too bad here. I mean, not quite as good as my BRZ or something, but pretty good. And again, this car is basically, yes, the Golf R is a sportier one, but it's still a daily commuter, right? So it's not as driver focused in that sense, but where it is driver focused is the ergonomics, and that's really what we want to talk about as well, which is a claim to fame, because you've got, see how the screens here are angled towards me and the whole cockpit feel. I really like that and appreciate that, absolutely. Some other practical features, of course, is that hatch, right? Anytime you have a hatch, but unlike the Corolla GR, this is going to give you a little bit more space and enough where it does make a difference, especially if you are using this as a daily vehicle. It's not going to be as great as that Civic Type R. That thing is nuts. That's like a little SUV, but again, it's only front wheel drive, so depending on where you live, and of course you get something like the WRX, which is great, very similar to this, but you don't have the hatchback and not quite the level of performance or premium-ness, if that's even a word in here. And when we talk about premium, again, this is, you're going to be in this vehicle a lot. One of the things the Golf delivers is a premium experience. So even in the back seats there, you've got 3-zone air conditioning, you've got heated seats, actual seats that are comfortable, maybe not for the middle person, but you've got tons and tons of cup holders in the middle there on the door pockets, even little felt for the people in the back so things don't rattle around. You got little sleeves in the back of the front seat so people can put their cell phones and watch things or whatever and be entertained. It really is a nice place to be back there. And then up here, of course, being the premium one, you've got ventilated seats up here, which is amazing and nice. If you ever own a vehicle with leather seats, they look great and things like that. But it's nice to have the heated seats in the winter and the cooling in the summer. Now, one of the things people complain about, of course, especially here in Canada, is anytime you get these buttonless infotainments and things like that, is, can I easily get the things that I need? Well, one of the complaints was that this light bar here doesn't, sorry, I shouldn't call it a light bar because it doesn't light up. But whatever you want to call this thing, you've got temperature over here, temperature over there, and your volume, and it doesn't light up. So is that a little dangerous, like we said? Maybe. But I think if you own this vehicle, people are going to get used to it, you know what I mean? And what you can do is they've shortcutted it here. You double tap there and you can bring up your heated seat, no problem. And then you have your heated steering wheel there as well. No problem. So really, is it that much of a big deal? No. And I want to be nice to Volkswagen because, you know what, not a lot of companies take chances. They did take a chance, kind of like Honda did, and you know, they kind of failed miserably in the sense that, well, I think in this transitionary period, people still want hard buttons for a few things, at least your volume and your climate control, things like that. But really, Volkswagen's idea and philosophy was, we're moving to autonomous vehicles, modern, clean looks, trying to keep the expenses down, because everything with electronics and less buttons, of course, is going to last longer, and yada, 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 and hopefully less repairs and things like that. So, and what they thought, though, was they'll give you this voice button over here, on the steering wheel, that you would talk to it instead of touch things. And they tried to make it as configurable as your cell phone. So we even have widgets for Mr. Pager Man here from the 90s. That's a big deal. But what you can do, like if you hold on to this here, whoops, well, it says while I'm driving. But anyway, that's all configurable. You can change that if you want, just like your cell phone. And then, you know, if you have the normal here, same thing. I can move all these around. This probably won't, yeah. I don't know if it's going to let me here because we're driving, but anyway, it lets you, it's very configurable. It really, really is nice. It's intuitive. It works great. The screen is beautiful, in my opinion. And of course, the claim to fame is the Audi Porsche digital cockpit over here. I've got it in R mode right now, which is really cool. You've got the nice linear RPMs there, but the view mode you can change, and you can do something more traditional where you got the RPM and the speedometer, or you know, you can do my favorite where they put the map in the middle. Is it necessary since the screen's right there? Probably not, but I think it's pretty cool. And of course, you got your driving stuff for safety, more of a modern kind of look there. And then one of my favorites is the tachometer, like my BRZ or Porsche Boxster right there in the middle. So really whatever you want to choose, but if you put it in that R mode, that's what's going to happen. And with the R mode, you get some different choices now. You get drift mode, which we're going to test, and you get this special or Nuremberg mode, which really is what everyone's custom used to be, which is, let's put it in the sportiest of everything except the suspension, because I don't want my teeth to fall out. So I think all in all, they've done a really good job, but enough me yakking. Let's drive this thing and do some fun feels tests. All right. Okay, time for our traffic light Grand Prix acceleration test so we can race up to that stoplight as fast as we can just to hammer on the brakes. All right, so here we go. So what I want to do is we're going to put it in R for race. Okay, there we go. That's blue. I guess that's angry. Sporty mode. Definitely not blue as in sad. It's definitely fast and fun. All right, so we're not going to do a crazy launch because this is going to be a new car for somebody someday. But nonetheless, we're going to give it some gusto. So here we go. All right, then we're going to hammer on those brakes. All right, takes a second to get going. All right, there we go. I got power start for a bit, and then the third, and we're going to hammer on those brakes. Oh. Squirrely like the GTI, but to be fair, these have like a summery all-season type tires on them, so nonetheless pass. All right, so let's do our quick turnaround test. All right, is that Ford Focus RS? We always use an example. It was awful. It was like 17-point turn. All right, here we go. I gotta get out of here. Not bad, didn't stall either. All right, pass. All right, so this is going to be a little bit different of a test because this is a drift test, a safe drift test, and we are away from public and everything else. We're at a construction site here in a small town. So anyway, and we just want to test this out because I have a rear-wheel drive sports car, naturally aspirated with an LSD. So I want to see, does this feel natural? And even if it doesn't, is it still fun to be able to swing around the back end? Because that's kind of one thing that all-wheel drives and hatchbacks don't really have going for them, like the Honda Civic Type R. It's an amazing car. As that is, you can't do emergency brake turns or rear-wheel drive power turns. So this has a open diff in the front with brake vectoring up front, and then of course with this all-wheel drive 4Motion system you can send 50% of the power back, and now you actually have real mechanical torque vectoring in the rear, and you can send 100% of that 50 to either side, hence the drift. So here we go. So how do you do that? Well, you go to the R button for D for drift, R for race, but it's a racy thing. So then here we will hit the drift and we will activate and say that we will be nice and safe. Okay, I don't see anyone around, so here we go. Let's just see how this is. All right, this should be fun. All right. Whee! All right, go the other way here. And one more just for fun. All right, so that was definitely a lot of fun, but I have to say that that felt very unnatural, very much augmented, but nonetheless, like, you're not going to be able to do that in a GR Corolla, you're not going to be able to do that in a, like we said, the Civic Type R, and in my BRZ you can do it, but you're not going to have all the practicality or all the other things that this has going for it, like being able to go 0 to 60 in less than 5 seconds. Okay, time for a highway and handling test. So let's see how this thing handles getting onto the highway. Is it pep beat? Does it hold nice? Okay, we got it in race mode still, so here we go. Yeah, that holds really, really firm. You can feel that torque vectoring in the rear end doing some things. It's artificial, but it's also confidence inspiring. Okay, so we can definitely get on very, very easily there. So one of the things that we want to do, though, is realistically, you're going to be using this once in a while for fun, on the weekends, so spirit driving, something like that on the way to work or something. But most of the time, you're going to probably have this in comfort. So let's go do that, because that's what this vehicle is all about, is just how practical and comfortable it is and how easy it is to live with. So here we go. So we got it in sixth gear. So comfort mode, let's be quiet. So as you can see, or hear, or not hear, it is pretty quiet. They say it's more refined. Realistically, I mean, there's still a lot of road noise there, but it's also only around 3,300 pounds, something like that, for an all-wheel drive sporty hot hatch packed full of all kind of safety tech, which we'll talk about in a second. So all in all, not bad that way for quietness. And again, this has winter tires on it, so they're going to be a little bit noisier, things like that. But yeah, one of the things I like with my GTI Mark 7 is it's a great place to be for everybody. You can have conversations, it's comfortable. So let's talk about the back then. So realistically, it is comfortable for 4 adults in here, 2 in the back, 2 up front. You can squeeze in 5, but realistically that middle seat is never great. But in the high-end version like this, in the Golf R or the top GTI, you also have 3-zone air conditioning, which is nice as well. Now, you know, is it kind of like the time I went to a Tim Hortons way back in the day that had smoking and non-smoking in the same section? You know, what's the difference? You're in the same room? I don't know. But really, you know, you can't get extreme temperatures at each person if they really want it. So, in all, the fact is that the effort is there. So all in all, it is a very, very nice place to be on the highway. And then when we said full of safety tech, the Golf R has everything you could want. Of course, not autonomous driving nowadays, but you do have semi-autonomous. So right now, or I'm calling it semi-autonomous in the sense of you can take your hands off the steering wheel for brief seconds here and there, or at least keep them on the steering wheel and be relaxed. So you're going to hit this button here, which is going to turn on the system. So we'll go ahead and do that. And then you want to set it here. And then what you want to do is find a the speed that you want to go at. So you use this button here to manually go up and down, or you can use your right foot. So I'm going to set it here, and you're going to hit the set button. And then what you can do as well, which is nice, is this little button here with the picture of the car on it and the different chevrons. So you hit this like this, and you pick how far or how close that you want to tailgate or not tailgate that person in front of you. So whether you're in kind of stop and go highway type traffic, I shouldn't say stop and go, but I mean like where you're, where people are a lot closer to you, or if you're cruising along like we are at a decent speed and you want a little bit more space, you can do that. So I'd have to say I do like the Honda, to be honest with you, a little bit better. They let you get a little closer to people. It seems to stay engaged a little bit longer, but nonetheless, this works really, really well, and it's nice to have. And of course, all the other safety stuff here. You've got great visibility in this on the highway for everybody, so nobody's barfing in the back, hopefully. But up front here, you do have a lot of visibility and high belt lights, so you feel safe, and it is safe. It's a great car. So all in all, I think it is a great highway cruiser and a great place to spend time in. Okay, next let's try this on the twisty bits to see how all this fancy technology works, because it's got this new system that helps coordinate all the different electronic technologies, kind of like a central brain, if you will, because you've got the torque vectoring, you got the dynamic suspension, dampering, and all that type of stuff, and of course the steering and everything else. So let's just see how it works in reality. So we're going to hit that R button again because it is tons of fun. All right, so here we go. Let's just see how it is on the twisty bits. Okay, going here pretty good. So it holds really, really tight, as you can see here. Yeah, that's really nice. Really, really nice. Very, very confidence inspiring. As we were saying, it seems a little augmented, yes, but definitely really, really works well. Very confidence inspiring. You can feel the system doing things, definitely. Unlike my car that's more mechanical. Very, very firm. Like, I feel like I sit up kind of high here, to be honest with you, on these seats, but I definitely am held in nice and tight and have good visibility, and the car itself feels really, really planted. Impressive. Pass. Well, if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe, turn on your notifications, and check out one of our other hot hatch reviews so we can get more cool cars like this one and our upcoming review. Now, we started this review off by looking to answer the question if, with over 300 horsepower, drift mode, and all the practicality and looks you could ever want for still well below the average asking price of a new vehicle here in Canada, is this Canada's top choice for a daily driver? Well, I'd have to say yes, it's got to be up there anyway. I am a Golf GTI owner, Mark 7, and I really, really like it. I almost bought a Golf R, as some of you may know, but I went with the BRZ instead because we kept our GTI for the family car and didn't have much money for all that other stuff. So anyway, the point is, I still think if you're only going to have one vehicle, the fact that it is over $60,000 for an average price of a Canadian car nowadays for a new one, and about $50,000 if you include used, the fact that this is around $50,000 even, MSRP, brand new, full warranty, all that kind of stuff, great engineering, it's going to give you all the things that you could ever want, and then have a lot of fun also on the weekends and things like that. So is this going to be as much fun as a Civic Type R, or as edgy? Probably not. Does it have as great of an all-wheel drive system in reality for practical things like a WRX with its symmetrical all-wheel drive? Probably not. But the fact that you can have all kinds of fun with this, because you're not going to slide the rear end around in a WRX or a CTR or a GR Corolla, and the fact that you've got this little bit extra length in the wheelbase and things like that, and the fact that they actually do concentrate on ergonomics and comfort and all that kind of stuff, I really do think this is a great vehicle. You're going to get around 30 miles to the gallon on the highway, 25, give or take, in around the city
connectivity, and the fact that yes, you do have all that safety equipment, and yes, the infotainment some people do complain about because of the inputs, but the actual infotainment itself is really good, and all the configuration is probably more like your phone than most. So I'd have to say, again, all in all, this really is a great vehicle, and if you're in the market, I wouldn't hesitate to get one, because this is the last chance you have at a manual Golf R. Thanks for watching, and we will see you again next time.